Right, I'm here to give you a demonstration on how to tune your instrument. And I'm going to start with the violin. And first of all, I want to show you an app that I downloaded onto my phone. It's called the Piano Tuner, Panotuner, and it looks like this. Okay, so it looks like this, and just the basic principle is that if this red line is over the letter, it's going to light up green, and it's going to say it's perfectly in tune. If it's to the left, then it's saying that it is not, it's too low, and if it's on the right, it's too high. So, for example, I am playing what's supposed to be the E right now on the violin, and it is showing up even further to the left of the one that says E with the B by it, which is a flat sign, E flat. I've got to make it get all the way to the regular E. So I'm quite far away. So here's what I'm going to show you. For big adjustments on our instruments, we have to use the pegs. For minor adjustments, we're going to use the fine tuners. For major adjustments, you need to know that the peg is a wedge. And that means this: if you just turn it directly on its spot, it's just going to go right back to where it came from. So as you turn it, you need to push in as you turn. That way it will stay. Now, if you don't, again, it'll just come right back. So I'm going to follow this one all the way up. The second thing you need to know is a millimeter turn goes a long way. This is not your guitar. If you turn a guitar tuner far away, it does just minor adjustments. This, a millimeter, is plenty. If you go further and you try to do a guitar turn on this, you're going to break your string. So you need to make sure that millimeter turns is all we do. So here I go. I'm going to turn just a millimeter. Oop, kind of stuck first. Okay. That's all I'm turning it. Just that tiny bit. So now you will be able to see how far that really went. So where I was on the left side of that E flat before, now I'm quite a bit on the other side. I still have to get to the E, which means I have to go even still further back away from my face. I'm going to do one more small millimeter turn. And that has now put me very, very close to that E. The red line is slightly to the right. So that means I need to come down here to my fine tuners, following it all the way down, minor adjustments. If you're facing it and you turn it to the right, it's going to go higher. If you're facing it and you turn it to the left, it's going to go lower. So I was too high, so I need to go lower, so I need to turn it to the left. So small turn to the left. And the tuner doesn't like to be plugged into my computer, so I'm going to undo it. If you have a piano, you can always check with the piano too, so I'm going to double check. All right, so they both are agreeing that it's way too high still. So I'm going to turn to the left, and oh, this might happen to you. I ran out of fine tuner to the left. If I go any further, it's going to come off. So I'm going to turn it back towards my face just a little bit. Way too far. See, I only went a millimeter and it was too far. Okay, now I'm very, very close. My red line is to the left of my E. So I'm going to turn to the right just a little bit. And I have now got it. And I want to show you what it looks like when it is completely in the right spot. I'm going to reopen it. When I plug it in, sometimes it gets all confused about what's going on. Okay, there it is. So when it's perfect, it lights up green like that. So on the violin and the viola, down at the bottom here, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, will get you that if you're facing your instrument. If you're doing it up here, I suggest you bring your left hand around and bow. Pull your thumb to the floor to make it higher. Push your thumb to the ceiling to make it lower. This way, towards your face is lower. Away from your face is higher with those pegs. They belong to the one that the string runs up into. Again, small, small, small adjustments. If you do too big, it's going to break or it's going to go floppy. All right, so that's violin and viola. And I will finish tuning this one later. I want to go on to the cello. All right. The cello works just like the violin and viola, that the big pegs up at the top, if you pull them to your face, it is going to make it lower. If you push them away from your face, it's going to make them higher. Again, it's a wedge. So if you turn it just directly on the spot, whoop, it's going to come right back to you. So push in as you turn, make small millimeter adjustments. The bottom, the fine tuners are the same as well. If you push it to the right and you're facing it, it's going to get higher. Pull it to the left, it's going to get lower. So, or you can think push to your left knee is higher, pull to your right knee is lower if you're behind it. Some people also prefer to think of it as like if you're twisting on a bottle cap, that makes it higher. If you're pulling the bottle cap off, then it makes it lower. The same principle with the tuning app works. If the red line is to the left, it's too low. If it's directly on top and it lights up green, you're perfect. If it's to the right, it's too high. So that is the cello. And now for the bass. All right. So the bass only has these at the top, and they're not quite like the pegs that we have on the violin or the viola. They've got gears, so we have a little bit more liberty. They're more like a guitar tuner up here. If you turn it to the right, it's going to make it higher. To the left is lower. Same principle works. Higher, pull it to the left, lower. We can get away with doing a little bit bigger adjustments up there because of the gears. And but again, if you go too far, strings can break. So I urge you just to go slow. It's better to go slow and be safe than to go too fast. And all you have to do is follow the string up to know which tuner to get to. So that is how to tune the instrument. Now, I do want to recommend you do one thing. When you are tuning your instrument, if you notice it's gone really out of whack and it's quite crazy, look down first at what we call the bridge. And the bridge is, let's see if I can get the screen to come down, is this piece down here. If it's way off center, we need to get it back center before we can do anything. And to get it back center, we need to loosen these strings up. If we try to push really tight strings across, we're going to break them. We need to loosen, get them back, get it back in its spot, and then tighten the strings back up. Now, our bridge sometimes falls down. If this occurs, call me and I will help you set it back up. I would prefer to walk you through those steps. But that's how to tune the instruments. If you have problems, just contact me and we'll get it situated together.